webinar. Today we're going to be talking about the latest version, the new version, Stratum 7.4, and we're just basically going to go through some of the features. So some of the highlights of what Stratum 7.4 provides. We'll go into a demo. We'll take a look at some of the new features. If you have any questions, obviously we'll reserve some time later here for any questions or comments. As usual, Stratum Data Hub, today we'll be talking about a product on more on the Stratum analytics side. As you can see, the Data Hub, there's ways of getting data in and out into Stratum. Today we'll be talking primarily about 7.4 and just admitting more people. 7.4, which is going to actually talk about dashboarding, because the 7.4 actually has some interesting enhancements for the dashboard, and also we'll be talking about how some enhancements revolve around the email distribution for 7.4. So as we continue down the path, as you can see, Stratum, the Data Hub has different ways of getting data in and out using the Excel connector, the Power BI connector, dashboarding in this case, email processing through the broadcast manager has been enhanced so that you get more information, you get the log files sent to you. So there's some really cool things that we need to cover. So let's get into it. So again, charting in Stratum dashboards. So 7.4 enhancements include a brand new charting engine that's available in the Stratum dashboard component. We also have new processing notifications and enhanced validations for the broadcast manager. So when you're processing your email alerts and whatnot, you actually get more information now. So, and then we've also had some enhancements to Sylvan Stratum Cloud product offering, which is basically 7.4 is now can be compatible with Microsoft's Azure AD. So that's something that we're supporting now only for our cloud customers. So there is a what's new document on customernet.sylvan.com. So in case you have not gone there, you can actually download this what's new document that basically covers what we're going to look at today, primarily focusing in on the dashboards and the enhancements to the broadcast manager. But as you know or may not know, we actually release a what's new document for every one of our releases, and we have some talented tech writers that do a great job of highlighting the different features in a very nice interactive document. So make sure you check that out, and I can send it to you too. So you can always ping me, and I'll email it out to you. Stratum dashboard charting enhancements have been done so that you can now put in the widgets and start using the brand new charting features that have been enhanced. So the charting within the views is now vastly different compared to what we have now with the new charting capabilities that's available in the dashboard capabilities. As you can see, there's some odometer style KPI charts. Really, I've been able to build pretty much every chart that you would probably want in a business scenario. Line, graph, bar, odometer style, gauges, as you can see here. So they've done a great job of enhancing this so that the charts are up to date, they're new, they're state of the art, and now you can take full advantage of them. So cleaner, they're, as I said, more modern looking charts. It's pretty easy to create these things, and I'll show you how to create a chart from scratch. There's a pretty large library of the different chart types that are available, and viewer charts are still available. So if you still want to use the charts that are available as you have them today, that's obviously not going anywhere. So those will still be available. There's some other things that we've done to enhance the usage of the Stratum dashboard. There's an open Stratum view button that's used for a dashboard widget in a new tab, and it lets the user move back and forth between the content in dashboards and the view behind the dashboard. So, and I'll show you this because there might be times where you want to see the detail behind the graph and do some drill downs and some additional analytics, right? And then you've got a menu option for administrator that provides access to Stratum Dashboard. So this is not available to everyone, only for administrators. And it provides a means to get to the dashboard designer, in which I'll show you how to get to in the demo. So that's it on dashboarding. And then on the broadcast manager enhancements, we now are sending out emails once the job's complete. So before, there was really no way other than going to the server and checking to see if the job finished by checking the log file, which we thought was kind of limiting. So now folks, certain analysts can now get these emails without having to log into the server to see if it was successful, and then you can attach the log file gets attached to the email, so that actually gets sent to you, so that you actually have that available as well. So that's been enhanced, and so there's an email notification. It will automatically notify administrators about, obviously the processing results for the different actions that get broadcasted out each day. That new setting is actually within the application menu. So, and I'll show you this, but you can set up who gets these emails, and basically what the emails will say. And there's two sections here, obviously, one for being process completed successfully, and then another section for the failed email. And again, this is for broadcast actions that get processed every day. Another nice enhancement was that broadcast manager now checks for cube availability. So, and then obviously you'll get a failure email once it fails with the log file, which clearly will tell you that the cube's not available. In the actual action menu, you'll see new fields that are available so that you can see when the action was last started and what the status is. So now you can see when the actual action was kicked off, and whether it's running or completed, or if there was a problem. And again, mixed in with that with your email, you should have no problem figuring out what the issue would be. We also added a no email message in the user profile and action maintenance menu. So if you happen to add a user in user profile, or if you're creating an action and you add a user that doesn't have an email associated to it, you're going to get this warning telling you that the email property is blank. So this is a good enhancement. That way, you're not scratching your head as to why this isn't working, and why the emails aren't being sent to certain users. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of this in a live demo. And then, of course, don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or concerns about today's session. Feel free to contact me about anything related to Stratum. And as you can see, there's the customernet.sylvan.com address. And make sure you check us out on our social media presence. Here's the new dashboard. So this is version 7. This is actually that's the designer. This is the new dashboard. Then this is version 7.4. Actually, I know it says 7.3 up here, but it's 7.4. And here we can see in version 7.4 the new dashboard that I've published out here. As you can see, has different flavors of dashboarding. I've got a bar chart here telling me if I hover over these, they'll actually highlight what that bar is, and they'll give you the actual data behind the bar. And so you know exactly what you're looking at here in terms of the data. Over here, we got OpenAR. We can see that Wilder Foods and, well, basically the Wilder Foods account owes us the most money. You can see Harrington's and a few others here. It's quite nice. I can just, some of the smaller pies, you know, you can hover over those and get an idea of who they are. Any one of these, as you can see, I can click in the upper right-hand corner of the widget, and I can do a couple of things. One would be, as I said, I can open the view behind this particular chart. So that way, if I wanted to see the data and what the data looks like behind the chart, it then renders the view in a separate browser session, and I can do the necessary drill downs here within the actual view. So now I'm in the view, I can do the drill downs as I see fit and do my analysis where I have more detail. You know, this is some detail that you don't want to chart, obviously. As you get down to product levels, the detail gets quite vast. So now, you know, you probably don't want to chart something with this many rows of data in it. So that's why we give you the option to go into and drill to the detail by hopping in. If I wanted to see the AR data behind this particular visual, I can go and do the same thing on that particular widget, and it will then run the view behind that particular widget. So in this case, I could then select a customer, or I can just bypass the parameters question, and then I can see all my accounts and what the OpenAR amounts are. Looking down further, line charting is available, certainly. So this is something that, in this case, I could see my different divisions, my food and grocery division, and how they're performing for my year-to-date performance. Down further, I can see a bar chart of basically the same concept. And then also I can do the same concept with margin analysis and show the gauges in which I could see that margin for both divisions are lukewarm, nothing great in terms of my the different tolerances that I set up, and you control that, by the way. So you'll set up, once you set up this visual, you'll set up what, you know, what these different tolerance levels are for the green, yellow, and red areas. So how do we build this? You know, how did we put this together? How do I get to that particular dashboard designer? And you can get to it by coming up to the hamburger menu. So as you may or may not know, we have a new hamburger menu here in the upper right-hand corner, which allows you to get to all the administrative and analysts tools. So here I can see that I can go to manage things and go to application, where I can see the settings for the broadcast manager settings that I was talking about earlier. And so here, if I scroll down, here's what we were talking about for the access hub, where broadcasts completed versus failed. Here I can fill in who's basically going to get these emails and what they should say. So that's where that is. Again, going back to the hamburger menu, and that's, again, the application menu. For the dashboard, I notice how I stay within manage things, and I can go to my dashboard menu from here as well. Okay, and that pops up, as you can see, the dashboard designer, and then I can go into the dashboard that you see currently is right here. So I highlighted that dashboard, and I can see what the dashboard contains. Now, if I want to edit the dashboard and maybe add more visuals or maybe delete some, I can notice how I have an edit button that allows me to go into edit. And then now it's showing the views that are available. And I'm just going to collapse this area over here to get a little more real estate. Here's all the views that are available within viewer. So now I can just select which view that I want to include into the dashboard for the graphic. And it doesn't have to be graphical. For instance, I can make it a data grid as well. So it all depends on what you want to do for the dashboard and the different pieces of data that you want to show. So let's add one in. So for instance, notice how I've got the different graphics that are available here within the new charting. So I can do a pie style, line, bar, column, or just the data grid itself. Okay, so for instance, how do I do this bar chart here, or a column chart for that matter? You know, I could just select the column chart, and then once I go into my different views, then I can highlight the view that I want to use for the column chart and then drag and drop that in. So here I've got some cleanup to do because the view actually contains quite a few different measures that I don't necessarily want to graph. So now I can go into and edit the graph by going into clicking on the edit button, which then allows me to change the type of chart, of course, on the fly if I wanted to, or the actual data that I'm graphing. So if I click on edit, it'll then allow me to just graph what I want to graph. So if I want to deselect some of the measures that I have within the view that I don't really care to graph, then I can go in and deselect some of these so that they don't appear on the graph. Pretty simple. Now I'll just go ahead and finish this out. And I'm just going to do this year and last year's sales. So that would be these columns here. And then I just get rid of everything else. So I click OK, and it's already looking a lot better. So by clicking on edit for chart data, as you can see, I can go in and I can select which graph or which measures within that view. And there's quite a few here. So one thing to think about is maybe when you build the views, you don't include as many measures, or perhaps you have a set of views that you build specifically for these charts that contain just the data that you want to chart, or maybe a little bit more. And that way you don't have to overwhelm the user with all the measures when they start building the charts. But nevertheless, that's how you would do that. If I wanted to go in the chart type, then I can go and I can select the different types of charts. If I wanted to see how this looked as a bar chart, or maybe a heat map, bubble, or a different type of combinational type of chart, then I can go in and I can do all kinds of things here in terms of selecting what type of chart that I want to make available here. Going furthermore, as you can see, it gets deeper. So if I select some of these bars, I can do a stacked or comparison, different types of scatter or pies. I can map data if I want to. So if I have state level data that's available within my attributes, then I can throw a map into my dashboard. Line trending, different types of motion charts, candlesticks. The odometer gauge style charts are available. And in all honesty, there's a few others that I haven't really messed around with. So lots of fun things to play around with. Customize the title of the chart. If I want to show the legend and where do I want the legend to show up, and font control, font size. Do I want a label for my axes? I mean, it's pretty deep. You have quite a bit of customization. I think this is a great first pass at this product, and there's quite a bit to do here. You can really make these things look fantastic. So kudos to our development team for putting together such an incredible product. Then I can stretch this out if I want this to be bigger. Obviously, the graph, it has all the real estate it needs. So yeah, I mean, it's really kind of that simple. If I want to maybe dump in a data grid of the same data, I can do that too, right? I can say, well, let's show the data next to that graph as a data grid. So now you've got this concept of using a data grid, which is basically just the view itself. It becomes drillable so that the users can actually drill in on it. So you might be able to put together a few data grids, and you can customize those as well, so that obviously you can clean some of that up so that they're only showing certain things within the widget, etc. I can bring that up and line that up here. And it will drop in place here once I line that up. That's fun. There it goes. So now it's snapped in place. All right. So a lot of cool stuff there. If I stop my editing here and save this, notice there's a save button. You can actually create and now save new dashboards, and obviously have them saved as well. If I then wanted to deploy this again, maybe if this was a new one, I can open in a new tab and I can grab the URL here for that dashboard. I can copy it and I can create a user link. I can put it in my home page. There's all kind of things I can do so that the users can get access to the dashboard. So if I wanted to create a user link so that users can get to it, I can put the user link in its own separate view group, and then I can, create it and click on it, and that way I can get to different dashboards. This particular dashboard is a Power BI connector dashboard. So depending on which link that you click on, you'll get different types of dashboards. Here's the Stratum Sales Dashboard, again, with different types of graphs, and you can have a series of graphs that open up different types of dashboards that are available. If I wanted to create a new link for that dashboard we just created, I can go in and create that link, go into Analyst Tools or Manage Things, sorry, and create the user link there. So, and then create one new one here, Stratum Sales Dashboard. I can describe it, I can make it global, personal. I can then paste the URL into that, and then I want to store that into dashboards. So now I can go ahead and do that, and now I've got the Stratum Sales Dashboard. I can click on that. It then takes the users to the dashboard we just built, and it includes the new components that we just added down there. Pretty slick. So a lot of stuff to be on, to be used there. A lot of things to play around with there. It's quite deep, and it's part of our newest version 7.4. So for the broadcast manager, again, you're going to get. We've gone a step further for the actions. If I go in into the Analyst Tools, I can see my action menu here. And we can see that new fields have been added for status, last process started. So those are my new fields that I have available to me. So if I wanted to kick some of these off, I can then kick these off, and then they would have status in these fields here. We can see that it's already finished. So obviously it's a pretty quick one. So and then I'll get my email, and I get my alerts, right? So this is sent to me. It tells me that, well, this is the actual report itself. So this is the actual action. And then here's the email I got for the processing. So we can see that process completed. For the action, we can see that I've got an email with the log. So if I double click on the log file, it'll show me all the steps within the action, and that indeed it did complete successfully. So that's nice, and you're not left wondering. If I didn't get an alert, obviously, then I could go in and go to my emails and then see whether I got an email for the process. And I should have an email whether it's successful or not, of whether that dashboard ran or that broadcast ran successful or not.